Amen to
That's
that.
how you psych yourself out.
Amazing.
You just say that you're having a great day. All right, we're live on Facebook now, so we can start recording. And here we go. All right, ladies, welcome to our weekly Teaching Tuesday. Someone said to me the other day, because we're booked out so far on Teaching Tuesdays, they said, you're going to have to add another day. And when I started Teaching Tuesdays, we started them on the second Tuesday of the month. Then they went to the second and the fourth Tuesday of the month. I think, Debbie, that was back when you were doing Teaching Tuesday. I taught one. Then we switched it to every Tuesday of the month, not even 4 months ago, 5 months ago. And now it's like, are we going to have to do them like Tuesdays and Thursdays? Like, what are we going to do? It's crazy. But I'm really excited about today. And for those of you that are here, I think all of you are members, but some of you might be here that are members of Lead Up for Women. This is one of the platforms that we put our members on. Good morning, everybody. We put our members on these platforms to share their brilliance with you. This is an opportunity for you as not only a community member or a member to come and learn from the other members every Tuesday, because they're teaching you something, they're offering you free items, they're even offering you items that resources you may have to pay for, but that you might need in your business right now. So that's for you to decide. That's the beautiful part of it. And for the member that actually gets to show up on the platform, it's an opportunity for her to step in the spotlight, expand her influence, and attract the right clients, right? Debbie and I could say the exact same thing on the same platform. There are going to be women attracted to Debbie because of her personality, what she does, how she teaches, and there are going to be women that are attracted to me. So remember, you might hear the same thing over and over again from 3 different people, but one of them is going to stand out to you, and that's the person that you're going to want to work with. So that's why we bring women, no matter what they teach. It could be similar, it could be different. We bring them to this platform and put them here. So please feel free to invite other women that aren't members of Lead Up for Women. This is free. So there's no obligation. They can come and learn every Tuesday from the ladies that we bring forward. So I invite you to invite other women and maybe forward just one of our emails to them and say, hey, you got to check this out. They just offer free resources every Tuesday. Right? That's great. So we thank you for being with us. And I want to show you my good friend, Debbie, who has been a member of Lead Up for Women now. I actually did my first compilation book with Debbie, and that's how I met her. That is the power of a compilation book. She is now like a super good friend of mine. We text each other on the weekends. We write each other that we miss each other. And Debbie did a book of her own, Loving Failure, after we did The Anatomy of Accomplishment, which is where I met Debbie in person right before we got locked down by the pandemic. So she did this book at Loving Failure, Getting Control of Your Business Health. It's an amazing book. She asked me if I would write a quote or a forward. I said I absolutely would. I just think it's so great. I want to help you promote this book as much as I can. She put a quote on the back of her book from me. Like, I called her crying. I was blown away. I took a photo and I was like, I can't believe
Why can't I hear
that
anything?
is the most amazing thing ever. Thank you so much for doing that. That just meant the world to me, because I spend my life lifting other women, putting spotlights, doing everything I can to get their name out there, and to see my name in this little blue square spotlight was something just really honorable. So thank you so much, Debbie, for doing that for me and for being just such an awesome person and being this financial concierge for us, because no matter where we come from or how much experience we have, we can always learn more about finances in our business. And so I'm very excited to have you here today. So I'm going to turn this time over to Debbie.
Okay. Well, thank you, Colleen, for your friendship. First of all, I mean, it was so great. We met before the pandemic. It was amazing. I just broke my little stand here, so I'm going to pretend like that didn't happen.
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
I'm OCD, so I'm going to try not to look at it now. But anyways, we actually met the weekend we did our book launch for Anatomy of Accomplishment was the next week. On that Wednesday, they closed everything down in St. Louis. So we had just gotten in under the wire for that launch. And I was so glad that I met you. It was amazing. So, and actually the pandemic's the reason I wrote the book. My grandfather, he was a vet in World War II. He was a cook on a Navy ship. and he got out and he decided he was going to be a plumber. And so he apprenticed for a little while and said, hey, I can do this. I can run my own business. Does this sound familiar to anybody? So he went and he hired 2 people. He worked till he was age 62. And at 62, he had a cottage on the lake. He owned his shop. He owned his home. He had a pretty good life. And so my grandfather thought that he would retire at age 62. And we were like, okay, that sounds good. Well, there was a couple things my grandfather had never done. He'd never saved for his future. He had never filed a tax return, or if he did file a tax return, it was at a loss. And here was my grandfather's retirement plan. We didn't know it at the time. When my grandfather grew up in the Depression, men retired and they died a couple years later. So my grandfather's retirement plan was literally, he was going to retire at 62, live on Social Security, die at 65. Well, your Social Security payments are based on the income you report to the IRS. And when you're a sole entrepreneur and you don't report income, you get the smallest amount of Social Security that's available. So my grandfather did what a lot of business owners did. He just folded everything up and quit. He died at 82 years old and lost everything he had worked for his entire life. He was a ward of the state when he died. He was on Medicaid. There was this big, strong man that was my grandpa. And to see the way he ended in his life because he just didn't know what he didn't know, that's the reason I formed my company. When the pandemic hit, there were so many people that were suffering and didn't understand the implications of not understanding their numbers and their cash. And it all starts with that 1-page strategic plan that we're going to talk about today. And it's my passion. So his story, because it's so personal, that's why I do what I do, because I don't want any business owner to end up like my grandpa did. He had a lot of choices that he didn't understand. He could have rented that building that he had. He could have sold the cottage on the lake for a profit. He didn't do that. Remember, he had to sell all his assets when he needed money, which meant he wasn't getting the best value. He could have had 2 guys work for him still and drawn an income, and he could have been the guy that wasn't working and just running the business top level. He could have sold his customer list. He had many opportunities, but because he didn't have advisors surrounding him, he didn't know what those opportunities were. And so, you know, that's one of the things we do. We talk to people about what are their plans for the future. Because think about the last time you actually stopped and thought about where your business was going rather than working in it in the day-to-day. So can I have a show of hands? How many people are in the daily grind right now? Like they're doing a lot of the things in their business? Yeah, me too. I'm growing my business. So, you know, one of the things I want to talk about today, I'm gonna flash up what's called a 1-page strategic plan. We're going to talk about some of the areas on the strategic plan, but I really want to focus on a few. And let me see if I can share my screen properly. We are going to go to the share. I like to sing when I'm nervous about doing something. So there you go. Got a little singing going on there. And can everyone see a big picture that says 1-page strategic plan, our company
We're
goals?
good to
Yay!
go.
I'm excited. All right, we did it right. I practiced. Okay, so vision. I want to start with vision. I want you to think about when you started your business, what was your big vision for yourself? You started it for a reason, right? Was it to help people? Was it because you wanted to be in charge? Was it to spend more time with your family? Was it because you wanted to be independent? Can you guys start typing to me in the chat? And Colleen, can you read me some of the answers that people are saying in the chat, please? I would love to learn why y'all started some of your businesses.
I started mine. I started mine to help other women, entrepreneurs, to be in the spotlight, for them to expand. So mine was about serving other women because I needed the spotlight. I needed to find out how to be seen, be heard, and be visible. So I wanted to create a place that I could do that for myself and other women. Be my own boss. Financial independence, says Tammy. Want to tell other stories, says Mary. Francesca, help other companies. Mary, want to help startups get off on the best path. Trisha, the bridge to recovery gap. Tammy, get more respect the older I got. Christine, to create a legacy of women who define success on their own terms versus living by someone else's that doesn't light them up. Clarenzia, I know I'm saying that wrong and I apologize. She said, giving impact to others, time and money freedom. Carol said, narrow my focus to work specifically with women. Mel said, my business growth is now to not only serve my clients, but to offer job opportunities to other women. Tanya said, show women how to elevate their image and influence with style, create the life I want to live. Lindy said, work independently versus for someone else and have more control over my career. Drop the mic.
Wow. I love this group of women. You guys are awesome.
Killing it.
Killing it. All right. So now I want you to think about where you are today. When is the last time you thought about your big picture vision? Because things change over time. And if you're not keeping aligned with your big picture vision, and by that, I don't mean if you started your business 5 years ago, having the same big picture vision. Your vision is naturally going to change over time as you learn more about your business, your clients, the things you love to do. That's very natural. And so I always encourage people to at least take a look at their big picture once a year, at least once a year. You should revisit that. Really, if you want to get down to it, it should be once a quarter, because you want to make sure you're still aligned with where you want to go. Does that make sense to everybody? So here's one of my favorite exercises. Your big picture vision should not just be about your business. It should also be about what your personal life looks like. Because I'll bet if I asked a lot of you, the reason you went into business is you wanted to have control over your time. How many people feel like they have control over their time today? Let's take a quick survey, yes or no. I'm guessing.
I can't see
the full screen.
Trisha said yes, yes, yes. Okay, I got a lot of yeses. A lot of yeses. So far, all yeses. I don't have anyone that says, today I do, not every day, said Tanya. Mel, yes, but need more time.
Okay.
Coming from a virtual assistant that helps people buy back time. That's hilarious, actually. Trisha said, sometimes I don't have enough of it. Lindy said it varies. Patricia said not every day. So thank you all for being so honest, because without your honesty, Clarencia, okay, I want to say your name right. Is it Clarencia? I bet it's Clarencia. Unmute yourself and let me know if I'm saying that right.
Yes, that's correct, Colleen. Thank you.
Oh, good.
You're the best.
All right. Marianne said not every day. Sophia said freedom to choose, live life on my own terms, driver of my destiny, time, freedom. Ooh, so free.
Okay, I love it. All right, so I want you to do this crazy little exercise with me. I want you to, I know, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. I promise nothing funny is going to happen, but just trust me. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to picture where your business is going to be 3 to 5 years from now. But it's not just about your business. What are you doing personally? What's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning? What are you doing with your family? What does your home look like? What's your schedule for the day? What's your company look like? Do you have employees? Do you have a COO? What are you doing in that company? And then, what was your goal when you originally started? Was it how many people you wanted to help? Was it about customers? Did you have a certain sales number you wanted to hit? Did you want a company with a certain number of employees? All right, I want you to feel yourself there. you have accomplished all these things 3 to 5 years from now. You've got that big picture dream. You're sitting in the place you want to be. I want that feeling just to wash all over you right now. I want you to really see what that feels like. Now I want you to stand up. I know this sounds crazy. I want you to stand up.
Come on, ladies, stand on up.
Because I want you to really step forward into it, okay? So I want you to take a step forward. You stepped into it. Now I want you to picture that goal 3 times bigger. Who just went, oh my God, oh my goodness. What did she just say? 3 times bigger? Tell me what you're feeling in the chat.
Or unmute yourself and say it out loud.
Or unmute and say it out loud. I'd love to hear your wonderful voices.
Excited,
So
excited.
happy.
Empowered.
Empowered.
Ooh, I love that.
Okay. I want you to take all those emotions that you just had, because the next 2 items, people tell me they're all the time, they're too hard to do. What's your mission? What are your core values? Do you have a sense of those now that we went through that exercise in the big picture vision? So your big picture vision is all about where you want to be 3 to 5 years from now. Your mission is how do you accomplish what you want to do? And so your mission is not about the what and the how. Simon Sinek does this amazing talk, and Callie knows almost everything I do. I quote him in, because your why you do what you do, is the story you need to tell people. What happened to you all when I told that story about my grandpa? Did that pull you in to why I do what I do? Was there an emotion there? Right? You need to have that same story about your business. What is your why, your personal why? Because that's your mission for people. Does that make sense? So people will buy your why, not your how and your what. So when you think about AirPods and what happened at Apple, you know, there were tons of MP3 players. Does anybody talk about an MP3 player anymore? No. Tons of companies did them. Tons. Why did Apple sell? Does anybody know? Apple sold us the story, not the how and the what. It was the story. Do you remember when those commercials came out? They didn't even say the person was like listening to music. Those people were dancing and enjoying life. Didn't talk about that iPod, didn't talk about how many songs could be downloaded, didn't talk about any of that. What did you see in those commercials? They bought the joy. They bought the joy. So it didn't matter that, you know, MP3 players were done with these other companies and they were the top sellers. They were selling the how and the what. Apple sells the why. What's their business why? When you think about computer companies and what happened to them, it's the same thing. They're all the same. We buy them based on their whys, what they say they're doing for us. And so when you think about your customers and your core values, that's all tied to your why and what your company is about. So I want to talk a little bit about, you know, and I don't have a timer anywhere on my, here we go. Okay, I know where I am. Thanks. I want to talk a little bit about your goals, because goals to be accomplished need cash. I'm going to repeat that. To accomplish goals, you've got to have cash. So to get to your mission statement and your core values and your big picture vision, you have got to understand your numbers and where they're taking you. So obstacles to get to your goals. People say they're cash, It might be your industry that you're in. You might need employees. What's getting in your way today to get to that big picture vision? What's stopping you from getting there? Is it technology? Do you need to invest in technology? Do you need more people? Do you need systems? What's that big thing that's getting in your way? It's really important to understand what your obstacles are. We worked on your long-term goal. Your short-term goal should be a year or less, what you're going to do to get to that long-term goal. And the measurements of success. Let's talk it. Measurements of success are all numbers. Oh, yuck, right? She just said that numbers work. Okay, so what numbers, I want you to put in the chat, what numbers would you have to track to get to your goal? What do you think some of them are today? Share with people, what would be the numbers you would need to track to get to your goal?
Oh,
Oh my gosh, everybody froze up, right? Did the whole chat go silent?
oh, I put KPIs, but I put KPIs by accident. I typed it wrong. So those are
Okay.
key business indicators, right? Someone
Yep.
said total income per year, new
Yep.
clients, how many new people I'm adding to my community and to
Right.
my network. That's Christine. Income per client.
Yes.
Any other ones? Keep coming, ladies.
These are all good. All right.
Mel should be dropping in there. Business expenses, good. Income per day, income
Yep.
per month, connections, clients,
Yep.
startups, clients, workshops, given, attendance, sales, expenses, average transaction, revenue goals from clients, group programs, residual passive income per day, per week, per month, per year. It's good. ROI, employee
Yep.
pay, expenses, taxes, income per quarter.
All right. Those are great.
Insurance.
Those are great. When's the last time you tracked them?
Oh,
Okay.
and
Don't lie.
Everyone's stumped. Every month. Someone said every month.
Excellent.
Daily. Francesca's
Excellent.
killing it with the daily. Every quarter.
Good. Here's my challenge. Do it at least every week.
Yeah.
Every
Love
week.
that.
Okay, so you should have at a minimum, like for sales, if somebody had a sales goal, you should track how many, you should know your lead conversion rate. So what your lead conversion rate is, how many leads do you need until you get a client to close? So do you need 10 leads to close one client? Do you need 5 leads to close one client? Do you need 20 leads to close 6 clients? So you should be tracking those. You should be tracking your wins, right? What went right with my wins? The clients I closed. And then it's all about activity. And the reason you want to start to track these numbers now weekly is as you grow a team, you're going to have their goals already to go, right? Because you know, as a business owner, I need 10 leads to close one person, or I need 20 leads to get 5 people in, whatever those metrics are. All right, so measurements of success should be in every department of your business. You might be the one that runs all the departments in your business right now, but you won't always be.
Oh, Francesca said, Debbie, I think you two need to let go. Oh, I don't think she's saying you need to. She's just saying as a whole, we all need to let go of the small tasks. So that's
Right.
a good thing to discuss. How many of us
Yeah.
get into the badge of being busy, right, is what I call it. So you're doing computer work and you're busy, but is that actually creating income, what you're
Right.
doing? Is it building income, or is it just something you could get rid of a small task and hand that off to somebody else?
So one of the hardest things to understand when you're going through the strategy process, and don't worry, we're not going to go through all the strategies. If you send me, we're going to have a call to action at the end, and there'll be a way to get this filled in for y'all. But anyways, one of the things that's really super important is understanding where can you offload things first? What makes you more productive as a business owner? That's why I love Melcar's business. Because I got to tell you, the first thing I loaded off was I got a virtual assistant. right? And they started scheduling all my appointments because scheduling appointments is not a money producing activity, right? For me and my business. Or maybe, you're not a marketing whiz and you need somebody else to post the things on Facebook or whatever it is you need to do. Or maybe whatever you're not the best at, because the bottom line is we don't have to be the best at everything. And I want to repeat that. We don't have to know all the processes inside and out. We don't have to be the best at everything. We just need to be able to manage it. Okay, to step up and manage it. So, there's tons of ways that you can do that. You can do that with virtual assistants. You can do that with bookkeepers and bookkeeping. There's lots of things that you can take off your plate that you don't need to be an expert at. I love a book that's called The Great Leap, and it's by Gary. I don't remember his last name, but write down that book, The Great Leap.
I have it right here. It's called The Big Leap.
The Big Leap. Yes.
It's right here. It's one of my signature books. Right here.
Yeah, I encourage you, if you haven't read it before, to read it, because it talks about staying in your zone of genius. That's why you started your business. You wanted to be in your zone of genius. And so whether you want to do operations, sales, marketing, whatever you love, that's where you should stay and start offloading the stuff you don't love to other people, because you'll be more productive. The way employees and virtual assistants and these people pay for themselves is they free up your time to grow your business. And you can't get time free if you don't take that initial scary step to hire that first person, whoever it is, to get that stuff off your plate. And how do I know that? Because, oh my gosh, I get scared just like everybody else. I sound really confident right now because I already done this stuff, but boy, taking that first step and hiring the virtual assistant, I wouldn't do it for a year and a half. Didn't do it, wouldn't do it, can't afford it, not going to find the money, not going to happen. Do you know what happened? And when I finally took that jump to hire her, I was able to onboard more clients.
Same thing happened to me, Debbie. I've told this story 1,000 times over. The day I hired Mel, like 2 months later, I created opportunities and made 6 figures because I could step back and actually work on building. And it's actually helped more women in Lead Up for Women because of that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So, this part about resources needed, it could be people, it could be software, it could be, processes. There's all kinds of things involved in your business. Financing, where are you going to find the money? When you hire people, what you have to understand is they should pay for themselves, because they're either going to help you be more productive, or they're going to let you do the things you need to do to grow and run the business. And so I think it's a huge mistake. Like when you're looking at the resources and you're like, Debbie, that person's going to cost me $60,000 a year. Yes. But what do they cost you for 1 month? Because you're not going to pay that $60,000 all at once. So it's an extra $5,000 you have to come up with, maybe, if you're hiring that first employee. Or, you could just dip your foot in and only do them half a month that first month, so it's not so painful, and then do the first month the next. So, you can work out all kinds of deals with people. It's not an expense if it's planned properly. It's an investment in your future. And that's how I want you to look at that. You shouldn't just hire somebody and have no plan for them. You got to, have that thought out, just like you have the strategies for your business. How is that person going to work for you? What are the 2 measurables? Remember, we're talking about the big overviewing measurables. What are the 2 measurables that person should report on, because that's going to help your business, right? So, is the measurable, I need, 10 appointments a week, 10 new appointments a week on my books so I can get more leads? What is the measurable for my virtual assistant? So think about those things. The other thing I want to talk about is financing, because there's lots of traditional financing. People think the only way to get financed is to go to your bank. And I love to talk about the 3 banking myths and talk about some different kind of financing options for you. So myth number 1 is the bank will lend me money when I need it, because most of the time we don't go to the bank unless, we don't have cash. So here's a secret, and I like to scratch my head when we talk about this, because bankers are risk adverse. They want to know they're going to get paid back. It's crazy. If you take out a loan, they want to know you got cash flow to pay the loan. So if you wait to go to the banker to get money when you need it, the answer is going to be no. So here's the second myth. I don't need a line of credit. I have plenty of cash. I think everybody learned a very valuable lesson from 2020. And I had a lot of customers that didn't have a line of credit before or fought the line of credit. They're like, we need a line of credit. I'm like, yes, let's go to the bank and get a line of credit. Because remember myth number one, when you need the line of credit, you cannot get it. Lines of credit are for temporary blips. You know, you got to cover payroll and you pay it back right away, or you got to cover this working capital expense and you pay it back right away. The bank isn't going to give it to you when you need it. You got to go get it when things are really good. And then the third myth with bankers is my bank turned me down for a loan, I'm unbankable. That is so not true. Banks are just like people. Think about the customers you like and the people you like to work with. The banks are the same way. They have certain customers, depending on the bank, that they like to work with, and certain types of loans that they like to do. So just because your banker turned you down doesn't mean you're unbankable. It probably means you need to go to a bank that likes your business and the type of risk that you are for them. So, you know, there's banks that love construction companies and there's banks that can't stand construction companies. There's banks that like healthcare. There's banks that won't touch healthcare with, you know, somebody else's sword. So, I mean, there's all these different things they'd like to do. Some banks love to do lines of credit. Other banks are like, I'm not doing a line of credit, real estate only. So, you know, just because the bank turned you down doesn't mean you're unbankable. So don't give up is what I'm trying to tell you. And there's tons of other places to get financing. And one of the first places to start, especially if you're a newer business, is there's tons of pitches in your local community. What's a pitch? It's free money or grants given to your business based on your plan, your business plan. So this little thing that we did today can really help you put together a business plan to do a pitch. Okay. So you can get grant money. There's a lot of grants available by state and federal government right now. Be listening to your local areas and your state governments. They're offering a lot of money and that money doesn't last. So you got to get in right away. Okay. There's alternative financing. There's all kinds of finance opportunities. Maybe you're a new startup that you're good for an angel investor. Maybe you're a tech startup where a venture capital investment would work for you. Maybe, you know, your company's looking for outside investors. Families and friends are going to get investments, but they have to be drawn up legally in a contract. So, I mean, there's tons of ways to get money in your business. So don't just think there's only financing and banks available. And there's a lot of grant money right now. So I would encourage you to go to your local state or your city and see what grant funds are available right now. Okay. And then the other thing, how many minutes do we have left, Colleen? Oh, good.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Okay.
We're at 9. Yeah, we're doing good. We've got probably about another, I would say 15 minutes, and then let's open for 10 minutes. 15.
All right. So, you know, we like to have a lot of fun in my company because, okay, people find numbers scary. They find taxes scary. They think numbers are scary. Debbie, I don't want to talk to my banker. What if my banker asks me for stuff I can't give them? All right, so I'm gonna let you know a little secret. So we also have a tax company and we got a video coming out next week because it's Happy Tax New Year. Did you know that? We've got horns, we've got flyers and stuff that we're gonna do because we've got a new tax year and there's like all these opportunities for tax savings. And what could happen if your business, if you started with the tax savings in May, rather than waiting till December, calling your CPA, your accountant and going, oh my gosh, what can I do? I'm going to have too much money at the end of the year. All right. So first of all, if you have to call your accountant and say you have too much money in the year, congratulations, big party. Your business is doing well. Okay. And secondly, you need to show a profit in your business. Okay, I'm going to pause because that probably freaked a couple people out. Here's why. Your tax return is used by the bank and outside financing people to know if you're profitable. If you're a sole entrepreneur, they're going to use your tax return to know if you can finance a house, right? Or make big expenses. So we don't encourage you to pay a lot of taxes. What we want you to do is tax planning and pay as little to the IRS as possible and get the biggest bang for your buck. Okay, so that's why you need to talk to your tax person in May, and we're calling a tax Happy New Year. So don't think of this as like, oh, Debbie, I just got done with the taxes. I don't want to talk to the tax person. That tax person that you have is really fresh with ideas on how to save you money now based on the return you just filed. Book an appointment with them, have a discussion. It is going to save you money in the long run. I encourage you, it only has to be 15, 20 minutes, not a lot of time. And talk to them about what can be done in the future to help you on your tax return and save on taxes. You know, they don't have to look up your file. They got it out. They're ready. They're ready to talk to you. Okay. And here's just one piece of advice I have. If your tax preparer told you to go out and buy more equipment this year because you needed more tax deductions and you did not have any kind of retirement savings, I want you to fire them and find somebody new.
Hire Debbie.
So not saying to harm me, hire somebody you trust. It'd be great if you want to talk to me, but seriously, they should be talking to you about retirement vehicles first, spending your cash on that, and then talking about other opportunities for your business. Okay. If they're going for low hanging fruit, you may not have needed that truck. That's cash you could have used in your business or saved for your future. So it's really important that you have a good person on your team that understands how to do that. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about SWOT. So SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. This gets skipped a lot, and this can have a lot to do with your marketing plan, competitors, and how your business does. So for a refresher, because I know a lot of you have probably seen this, I want to remind you, strengths are internal. What are your internal strengths as a company? Weaknesses are internal. What are your internal weaknesses as a company? You know, sometimes it's the players you have on your team. You know, a lot of times when I help businesses, it has a lot to do with the players and the education of the players on the team, and not so much with outside opportunities. And I think that's really important. When you're looking at hiring people for your company, hire slow, fire fast. Hire slow, fire fast. I don't care if they've had the best skills you've ever seen. If they don't fit into your company culture, they will have a devastating effect on your business. Okay. So, you know, I had the best hiring advice, and I always share this: hire happy people. If you hire happy people, guess what? They're not complaining every day. Think about the people you worked with before you left your business. It's like the easiest no-brainer ever, right? So I always share it. It's like, hire happy people. So remember that. If you're sitting across from them and they're not happy, next. All right. Opportunities. Those are outside things. And there were tons of opportunities in 2020. I want to repeat that. Tons of opportunity in 2020. So if you had never done a seminar or a webinar, oh my goodness, you could reach so many people that were located in so many different areas, right? And expand your reach in your business. You could have created a new revenue stream. Think about all the processes you have today that you could sell online that don't involve you. Ooh, a second revenue stream on your website that has nothing to do with you, that generates income for you. That would be a great opportunity, right? Think about companies you can buy. There are a lot of mom and pops that have come out of this economy and they no longer want to be in business. Those are opportunities. And you might be saying, well, Debbie, I can't afford that. There are all kinds of ways to finance those in structured deals where you don't have to pay everything up front. And you could create a monthly income, or you could create a monthly or annual income for them so they have some kind of retirement plan, quote unquote, while you purchase that business. Did you ever think about that? We don't have to pay it out all at once. Okay. So you remember my grandfather's story? 9 times out of 10, they haven't saved for their future, those mom and pops. So there's ways to generate income for them where they can start investing some of that at a lower tax rate. So tons of opportunities. All right. And threats. Threats could be all kinds of things. It could be new taxes in your industry. It could be import or export fees if you do international business. It could be the inability to travel. If you were in events this year, your whole business got revamped, didn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah. If you were a cruise line, you had to figure out a different way to do business, right? So there were a lot of people that got on hold. There are restaurants here in St. Louis that aren't going to reopen. All they're going to do is delivery. They've got a new business model. So there's going to be a lot of innovations and threats. And threats could be the way new people are doing business. Take a look at it and see if it can apply to you. You don't always have to be the innovator. Take what you see around you and see how that could be applicable to your own business. All right. So I have left time for some questions because I hate to do all the talking.
You want to stop sharing your screen and then we'll,
I would love to
Open
stop
it up.
sharing my screen.
and then I will
And then
remove.
let me change my view so I can see all the people. There we go.
Yeah, I just
Yay!
removed the
See all the
spotlight so you guys
faces.
can go back to gallery. So let's go ahead and open it up and unmute yourself and let's get some conversation started and ask some questions because Debbie, you've introduced a lot of great opportunity today for conversation.
Yep. Okay.
So I'll go ahead and start. So Debbie, you and I know each other. So can you talk a little bit about, some people have that fear of hiring people.
Yes.
And kind of speak to that because that is so important.
So, okay. So I coach people to hire people all the time. And then I started my own company and had to hire people. So I started in November and I didn't do my first hire till February 1st. So I hired my administrative assistant. I always had a virtual assistant, but my first employee I didn't hire until February. And so it is a leap of faith. Leap of faith. You have to have a plan for that person and know how they're going to help you. My business has doubled since I started hiring employees. Doubled. Because I can do a lot more. So once you take that leap of faith and have a plan for those ads, it's really, really amazing. So, and I mean, there's no safety net. You just got to step over and do it. So do you remember how you felt when we did that big picture vision? Do you remember how happy you were and you stepped into it and it was 3 times bigger? What do you need to make that happen?
Employees.
Employees.
Lots of them.
Lots of them. Lots of them. So, and you don't have to start with 12, just start with 1. Start with that first one. What is the most important position that gets you most bang for the buck? For me, it was an executive assistant, getting all that little stuff off my plate. Okay. I hope that answered your question, Francesca. And I think, what's the return on investment? What were the other things I could do? So I could concentrate more on sales in my business if I wasn't doing all that other stuff. I got double time back. When you hire that first employee and you've got it planned right, you get double your time back. Wouldn't you agree, Colleen?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. What other questions do you guys have?
What were some of the
Mary.
What were some of the tasks you gave your first employee? What were the first few things that you delegated?
Good
Documenting processes. If you're going to grow your company, you have to have processes. And guess what? You don't have to be the one that creates the processes. That's really freeing. So there's all kinds of software out there to develop your processes. We use Smartsheets because it's kind of like Excel or, accounting kind of people, and I like it. But there's all kinds of things. Process Street, there's Asana, there's all different kinds, Lucid Chart, there's all different kinds of ways to document your processes. So you remember a bazillion years ago, if you're older, and they used to have these big SOP books that nobody ever looked at. Well, today's processing software are actually checklists, or they ask questions, and it can be sent to the next person in the process to actually do the next thing. And you as an owner can go in and know where every project is. Holy moly, think about that. Or you can go in and know what has not been accomplished and what maybe somebody needs help with, right? They're at a stopping point. So developing processes was one of the first things I gave her. I no longer do any appointments in my calendar, even when I'm talking to a client. Dana does. So, and that's really important because I am great with numbers, and I am the most terrible calendar person you've ever met in your entire life. My brain cannot do the calendar thing. It does not compute. And I used to spend tons and tons of hours on it. And I got all that time back. She calls people, she makes those connections. And do you know what people think when you have an executive assistant?
You're successful. Yeah, you've got employees, so your business, so they trust you.
Right. So I used to drive a Ford Fusion, and I always used to drive very economical cars. And I remember when I bought my Cadillac, and the first time I drove up to a client in my Cadillac, I don't hardly drive to any clients anymore. Those were the olden days, right? Pre-pandemic. And people looked at me differently because of the car. So what you are presenting to the world makes a difference. And so when you say you don't have to have an executive assistant full-time, start small with a virtual assistant, maybe a couple hours a week. It makes a difference to people when you have an assistant, because you don't have to say that's my virtual assistant. You just say my assistant so-and-so will take care of this for us. It adds credibility to you. It really does. And she also does, she does a post for social media for me, which is a huge time saver.
Yeah, Mary just made a comment. She said financial professionals need to look the part, or else why would I trust them with my money? And unfortunately, it sucks to say it, right? It does suck, but no matter what you want to believe in our heads, and this is the hardest thing for me to wrap my head around too, people are going to judge a book by its cover. And there's a twofold to that. When Debi's in that vehicle, she feels better. Her self-confidence goes up.
It's about my self-confidence,
self-esteem goes up. She feels successful, and that's the reason why I used to buy luxury cars as well when I would travel to work and back, is because I had to spend a lot of time in there, but I always felt better when I was in luxury vehicles. Just my self-esteem went up. Go ahead, Mel.
Well, I wanted to, ditto everything. And as your personal executive assistant, and to many other women, I know how important it is to, delegate those tasks, and just to admit, yeah, you have pain points. As a small business owner, a successful entrepreneur, we need support system, whether that is, one person or two people, or, entire companies to take off those tasks that we don't have time to do. We don't know what to do with them. We don't want to do those. Like we all said, zone of genius, stick to it. Stick to your own swim lane. Feel free to give off those tasks that you don't want to do. And then to look the part too is like, I show up and I try to look, as professional as I can and put together. And, I may have leggings on underneath, but at the bottom, but I present myself professional because I have a business and I'm investing in my client's business too. So I want them to, look the best and provide the best service. So it's back and forth, and, I just agree with everything said. Thanks.
Yeah. What other questions do people have out there? These have been great.
So I'm just gonna add in there. So I have things called bots, and I didn't even know what a bot was, but I hired people to get my landing page up, to get my merchant accounts all together, to do all of that. So, you know, it's not just a virtual assistant. It's my zone of genius is there, and you need this. So hire those other people. And it's just so.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a huge difference. And, so a lot of what I do, it's about trust. And so the best way to build trust is to make yourself vulnerable. How do I make myself vulnerable to my clients? I tell them I'm not good at appointments. And they're like, I'm like, give me a spreadsheet, or give me this crazy set of numbers. And that's my zone of genius. I can put together a strategy for you. I can tell you how to save money. I said, but appointments are my zone of genius. So I need you to talk to Dana. And they're like, oh, okay. So when you admit your vulnerabilities, you become more real to the people sitting across from you. And it can do a long way to sell.
Let's talk about that for a second, because no matter what anyone thinks, this is going to be the biggest elephant in the room, and we're all thinking it. Okay. And I don't mind being transparent. What you are worth is not tied to your net worth. I'm going to say that again. What you are worth is not tied to your net worth. So if you are too embarrassed to go ask for a loan and to show your finances of a loss in your business, I'll admit to everyone right now, Lead Up for Women, in my first year I built it, I believe our loss was over about $70,000 to build Lead Up for Women and all the resources it took to get it to where it is today. It is not embarrassing and is not a reflection of you if you need to borrow money and you need to have someone see your finances, or if you're not where you want to be yet. How you get to where you want to be is being open with those books for someone to be able to assist you that knows the numbers, that can help you get the funding and the money you need to get to where it is that you want to be. So that is like always the biggest elephant in the room. No one ever wants to talk about money and sex. It's the two biggest things that everyone wants, but no one ever wants to talk about them. So you have to talk about money.
And money all starts with your price and your self-worth. So whatever you're charging today, I'm telling you, it's not enough.
And if anyone says, I can't afford it, they can afford it. When they say I can't, they say I don't want to afford it. Because you can afford anything. Anyone can afford anything. If you had something happen in your home tomorrow and your electricity went out and you needed a new AC conditioner, if you lived here in Arizona, you would find $8,000 to put a brand new AC unit on your home because you would die. Simply, you could not live in your home in Arizona. So we all can find the money. We all can invest in the things that we find that we need. So it's a shift of your mind to decide what is it that you need in your company that's going to take you to the next level. You have to decide what that is. You can afford anything that you put your mind to and can figure out how to get the money. We all always do. Every time in your life, you've always figured it out. How do you figure out how to get to the next level in your business that requires you to get funding or requires you to get help? And investing in that person, remember, no company hires someone because they feel like spending extra money and taking more money away from the bottom line. They hire them so that they can make more money, so that they can grow. Every company in the world does this. Go ahead, Christine.
I think one of the things that I really loved in the comment was, talking more about not the how. Because when you're in startup, and this is something I was talking with someone in my client group yesterday, we get so focused on I have to have the how, and I have to figure out the next 10 dominoes, and nobody wants those dominoes but you. Like, you can sell something before it's there. You're there to get the vision going, and then when you go, oh, now I have a client that really wants that. I've sold them the dream. I've got to figure that out. Outsource the things like I know I'm not great at. Get the pen to paper, talk it into a phone and say, then transcribe this and put this on paper for me. That's 1 hour. I don't have to do that. So I really like that comment about the how, because we get really caught up in staying where we are because we think we need the how, and we don't. The how gets in the way. Just do it, get action, take the one step, and the how comes together. So I really like that comment that you said, Debbie, because that's been on my mind a lot this week.
Get
Thank you, Christine.
super focused on who your clients are. Stop wasting your time.
Mhm.
When I
Solid.
first started my business, you know what my closing rate was my first year? 0%. Ooh, that's some vulnerability, huh?
Mm.
No, it's totally fine. I mean,
Yeah.
many of us are sitting here. I thought, oh, how hard could it be to get 1,000 members? That can't be
Right.
that hard. I'm doing 25 a month, 100 a month. That should be super easy. Oh,
Right.
that is not
Right.
what happened. That is
When
not
I
what happened.
got super focused on who my clients are, who do I work best with, where's my zone of genius, my closing rate is 89% consistently year to year.
Yep.
89%.
But if we took everyone out of your office and you had to do everything by yourself, how much time would you have to have a closing rate of 89%?
I wouldn't have time to do that
Right. Yeah.
because I'm focused on sales. That's my job.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
the salesperson.
All right,
So
ladies.
think about that. Think about all those people you wasted time with. Because the number, if I'll share one more jump. The people you want to talk to are the people that know they have a problem. Stop talking to the people that don't know they don't have a problem. They are a waste of time.
That's a good
Tire
point.
kickers. Yeah, you can't
That's a
serve
good
everybody.
point. Because
You
I
want
sit
to
around
talk
all,
to the people that know they have a problem and know they need to solve it. They know they have a problem. They don't know how to solve it. Those are the two groups you want to talk to. Get rid of the rest. It's just noise.
Agreed. Wasn't Debbie amazing today, you guys? Is she not like a wealth of knowledge, right? Debbie, could you please come back more? I keep begging you, like, girlfriend, I don't see you
I will
enough
come
here.
back more. I
She's
promise.
like,
We can talk
I'm
about all
busy,
kinds of stuff.
Colleen. I'm building my business. I'm like, I get it. But we did a special webinar last year during the pandemic with Debbie.
We did.
Where I said, there's so much going on with the PPP loans and all of the different loans out there that the government's passing down. I don't know anything. Can you help me out? Let's do a special webinar and we'll bring everyone together. And I want women to understand what their options are. So we did this special webinar. Debbie was like, that was my first webinar that I've ever done. I was like, well, no one could ever tell. It was the most amazing thing. And I'm thankful that we put this together because, again, it was just about helping women. And that's really how her journey kind of kicked off with Lead Up for Women. And so I just want to thank Debbie so much for bringing your wealth of knowledge to us today on finances. And I'm going to encourage each one of you. Debbie, I don't think you put your information in the chat.
I didn't. Like, give me a sec here.
Drop your
that
information
up.
down there. And then we'll make sure that you have the opportunity to reach out to the women that were here today so that you can share that information with them. You can just, everyone, if you want to screenshot or.
Yeah, just screenshot it.
Yeah. Here's her
And then-
information. Write down her email, write down her phone number, reach out to Debbie and schedule some time with her assistant to be on her calendar because Debbie is so open and she'll talk with you. If you're looking for
I'm offering 30 minutes today if you book an appointment. 30 minutes free.
Yep. So thank you, Debbie, so much for that. And ladies, just so that you're aware, next week, and I know you all get the Teaching Tuesday link, and Mel, if you drop that real quick into the chat before we roll. The next one is going to be Jean Kuhn. Many of you know her. She is my coach that I work with, and she's going to talk about how to increase cash fast. So it's about, she has a lot of ideas and tips and strategies on how you can increase cash flow very quickly. We're talking within an hour. She's got some tactics in your business. So join us next Tuesday for that. Same time, same bat channel. Ladies, thank you for being here with us today. Mary has an episode today at 1:00 on her Facebook. She dropped the link in the chat. It's about a person who does grants and is teaching about how to write grants. So it's a great opportunity for you guys to go get that free resource from Mary as well today. So thank you, ladies, for joining us and have a wonderful week. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
And bye-bye, Debbie.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.